The importance and influence of products inside of games does not only appear within direct and paid product placements. Every item that is put inside a game may influence the players and the corresponding industry branch nonetheless. A topic that falls into this discussion is tobacco in video games. We will discuss in how far tobacco is part of actual product placement in the end of this episode. In the 1980s, there were many ideas and rejected plans by tobacco companies, including sponsoring video game tournaments, using gaming imagery in products like the cosmos and space themes from the space game craze, and planning marketing near video game arcades with a young target group. From the 1980s into the late 90s, bars were a central place where gamers were exposed to tobacco marketing. Companies started to sponsor video game systems. MS-DOS games, reskins of racing games, as well as commissioned racing simulators were used, which were made by developers like Sega. Such systems contained monitor frames with brand logos and brand paint jobs or in-game cars. There were also contests where merchandise from the tobacco brand could be won. In the late 90s, regulations became more strict. For that reason, companies took surveys through the bar patron from everyone who played on such a sponsored machine and took part in such contests. Those surveys collected names, addresses, but also useful data for market analysis. During the late 90s and early 2000s, brands tried out extreme sports games, virtual reality systems, and more in-home advertising. For example, RJR offered discounts on existing video games for their customers. Games were also commissioned which contained real-life racing tobacco sponsoring, like the NASCAR Winston Cup, which was distributed in popular magazines such as Rolling Stone. In the mid and late 2000s, tobacco brands started presenting video games on their websites. Web-based video games were even included in youth smoking prevention campaigns by said tobacco companies. Lorillard, for example, had an online anti-smoking campaign called Tobacco's Wacko If You're a Teen, which provided several video games targeted at teenagers. It is suggested that this might have had the opposite effect, so that teenagers actually got a stronger incentive to smoke. Although these studies examine similar campaigns, there are no studies addressing this specific campaign by Lorillard. Video games are controlled and rated by various organizations in almost all countries. One example is the Entertainment Software Rating Board, ESRB, in the USA. It rates video games and gives them certain age labels, which dictate how old somebody has to be to buy and play a specific game. There is also a content descriptor which gives information about what is in the game. For tobacco, there are two categories: reference to and/or images of tobacco products, and the consumption of tobacco products. But in reality, it often doesn't work. TruthInitiative.org, an American non-profit public health organization, has found that many games which are labeled to be suitable for children under 18 years old involve smoking. On a list they compiled featuring games that glamorize smoking, you can of course find more mature games like StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, or Uncharted 4, Thief's End, but also titles for younger players like Overwatch and We Sing. A study has found that the ESRB's tobacco content descriptors were missing in 78% of the examined 50 video games which contained verified tobacco content. While tobacco is still a big part of video games, its inclusion as actual in-game advertising is illegal. A study has found that in the US, the Tobacco Master Settlement Agreement from 1998 places limits on paid tobacco product placement in video games. It found no evidence that tobacco companies paid for product placements today. Instead, the research points to more direct relationships, with tobacco companies commissioning branded games that promote a particular brand or corporate image. When it comes to tobacco, advert games seem to be the way to go. If a direct placement of tobacco in video games doesn't take place, can gamers still be influenced by its representation in games? Studies have shown a correlation between playing video games with tobacco content and actually smoking. Although a causality between smoking and tobacco content cannot be drawn yet, nor can it be dismissed. The research concerning video games and tobacco is very limited and started to expand only in the last few years. Yet this topic is very important, as it is clear that video games do influence us, and the tobacco industry seems to be more aware of that fact than we are. One example for that is Smokestacks. Is a board game in which players have to develop marketing strategies for their tobacco company and earn money. As time progresses, new rules are introduced to reflect the laws that were passed over time in real life to limit tobacco use. In the end, the player with the most money wins. A study found that by playing this game, young adults can significantly increase their knowledge of the dangers of tobacco and the marketing strategies involved to promote it. This shows that games can play a huge role in informing young adults and teenagers about certain topics and shaping their opinions. It is important that games propagate an anti-smoking message, as it is safe to say that it has a huge impact on whether kids are being drawn to smoking or not.